You know what you should do? You should follow me on Twitter at Bromo018. Link in the description. Do it now. It's fair to say that PES 2019 has been one of the lowest points in the life of the Pro Evolution Soccer franchise in recent years, especially for fans of the offline modes such as Master League and Become a Legend, and including the highly media covered loss of the UEFA licenses, meaning that Konami also lost the exclusive Champions League and Europa League tournaments that so many players enjoyed playing, myself included. The lack of changes and improvements to the offline game modes aren't the only issues that have plagued Konami this season either. The gameplay has come in for some absolute panning from the Pro Evo fanbase from both online and offline players. Whether it's severe problems with the AI impacting on gameplay, stamina degrading way too quickly, or accusations of major scripting in games, Konami has had it quite bad this year, and perhaps rightfully so. They've generally refused to respond to fans to appease their concerns, and despite some minor changes made to the gameplay through the way of updates and data packs, the real major problems that have presented themselves to PES players this year have remained relatively untouched. With all of that in mind, I'm here to present and debate an idea regarding whether Konami should potentially add gameplay sliders to Pro Evolution Soccer 2020 and beyond, and whether or not it would be a good idea for the long-term viability of the PES franchise. So first off, let me explain just exactly what gameplay sliders are for people who may not know. Sliders allow you to alter and change many different aspects of gameplay. These can be found in the likes of EA Sports franchise games like FIFA and Madden NFL. In FIFA, you can change the likes of speed of all of the players, the accuracy and power of shooting and passes, goalkeeper tendencies, AI marking and defensive line shape, etc. You can increase or decrease them depending on how each specific feature works. For example, you can increase or decrease the speed of shots and passes, increase or decrease the accuracy of passes. Madden NFL sliders provide similar options but go into more depth, as you can also change the leniency or strictness of the officiating. But even more interesting than that, you can also increase or decrease the amount of XP that players gain throughout the franchise mode, which is Madden's equivalent to Master League for those of you who don't know. So there's an awful lot that you can do with sliders on these games that can essentially completely alter the gameplay from its original state to how you want it to play like. So let's explore what this feature could look like if it was implemented into Pro Evolution Soccer 2020. Now you'd have the simple sliders such as altering speed of players and shots, etc. Being able to change the accuracy either to increase it or decrease it depending on your preferences. There'd also be added ones in terms of player movement, such as the agility of players and fluidity of their turning. For me personally, my biggest issue with the gameplay on Pro Evo is the turning of players both on and off the ball. The turning animations are far too slow for my liking, and feels to me like it's done in stages. It feels like they can't turn fluidly on a 360-degree angle, but instead can only turn in sections each time. With agility sliders, you'd be able to completely overhaul this to remove this issue. The slider feature in this instance could give you the option to make players turn faster on the spot, or perhaps even slower if that's what you prefer. On top of these elements, you could also alter the more tactical features of the game and the team setup as well. For example, if you feel like the man marking is either too tight or loose, you could change that to either make it more realistic or simply make the gameplay more enjoyable for yourself. Player positioning would be an extension of this. There are plenty of times in PES 2019 this season I found my players way out of position for no apparent reason, and as a result the opposition have been able to exploit this to their advantage. Positioning sliders could prevent this by making players more or less willing to vacate their position. So that would be gameplay sliders, but I also like the thought of adding XP sliders in the likes of Master League and Become a Legend, like in the Madden NFL franchise. These would be in a style that's slightly different to Madden, because that's based on how much XP players in each position gain towards upgrading their overall ratings. Of course, in the likes of PES in FIFA, growth is calculated very differently. You don't have a certain XP target per rating, but instead it simply increases or decreases. In PES, these sliders would have the ability to change the rate of growth for players at each age. So not only could you change how quickly players grow at younger ages, but something that both PES and FIFA have come in for some criticism for in their respected offline modes is how quickly players in their 30s regress in overall rating. These sliders would be able to slow down how quickly that happens to players of these ages. So that would be how sliders would work if implemented into the game. But why should Konami implement this feature? Well, as stated at the start of the video, it's clear that the majority of fans, particularly offline players, are very unhappy with both the lack of feature additions and the gameplay as a whole. With sliders, you give people the ability to alter the gameplay for themselves. Either they can change it to make it simply more fun for them, or just make it realistic. Because let's face it, as much as both Konami and hardcore PES fans like to claim that it's a football game for realism and that pure feeling, I personally think it's a long way off from giving people that purely realistic football simulation. So there's a lot of ground that can be covered with this addition. If there was to be an argument from Konami for why they shouldn't add sliders, I imagine that it would be something along the lines of, why should they put effort and resources into the development time of the gameplay if it's simply going to be changed, potentially drastically, through the use of sliders? Well, my response to that would be that the most important thing to the company should always be that the consumers are enjoying the product, and the gameplay is what will decide that. Seeing as Konami haven't been able to get it right for some time, then this seems like the only logical option to provide a positive experience for the fan base. While some people would change it to make it more enjoyable, I'd personally use this feature to make a more realistic experience when playing games for myself. As alluded to just, I feel like I'm some way off from getting that experience at the moment because of the poor gameplay levels. Obviously there is a limit to this addition. You wouldn't be able to implement these slider gameplay changes online because obviously the opposition may have different settings to what you have. I'm unsure how you could add these online because how will you work out the logistics of it? That's something I can't yet provide a solution for. But at the end of the day, it can be done in the offline modes, and in my opinion, it should be done. The offline fans are generally clearly disillusioned with the state of their part of the game, and this could go some way to addressing those issues in my opinion. For any of you that follow True Brits, who is a YouTuber predominantly covering PES, he does a lot of videos showcasing the mods that he has downloaded for his version of Pro Evo on PC. These mods including drastic changes to the gameplay compared to the vanilla version of the game. His videos often cover how much more enjoyable he finds the game when playing with these mods. It just makes me think, why should people even have to go to that trouble? Let's just get sliders into the game and make it much easier for players to alter it to how they prefer. Mods can only be implemented on PC, whereas the majority of players have the game on either PS4 or Xbox. So then you give consumers that own these consoles the option to also have this available. So why not? As always, I throw this over to you guys now. What do you think? Should Konami add gameplay sliders to Pro Evolution Soccer 2020 and beyond, or not? If not, what should the company do to address the complaints and fan unhappiness regarding the gameplay? Give me your response and opinions in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you. Give me a follow on Twitter if you haven't already using the Twitter handle at Bromo018. The link for that is in the description. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more regular gaming content from the likes of PES and FIFA. On that note, it's time to round it off there. I'm Bromo18, and I'll see you soon.